Can I get everyone's attention? Everyone who's in this class? What happened to GS? Where is GS?
He's dead.
He's not feeling well.
He's doing wireless.
Okay. So Nick, like you're special or something? No, you're not. Come closer. Because then what happens is then everybody's like, oh well, we're also close, and then it's like, and then it's like, how come Nick gets to sit in front of the computer but nobody else does? And
Because Nick was
You can call him like a millennial flex.
I'm not gonna. I'm gonna try to avoid using the millennial thing.
Thank you. I'm very sensitive
Okay, then
to
call
it.
him a
Makes me
cuck.
cry. I'm really sensitive to call him millennial.
Nick, that's not nice. It's very. That's very
Yeah,
nice.
that's not nice.
Okay.
Yeah, Nick will kill yourself.
Go kill
Be
yourself.
beneficial to your mental health.
Alright, so.
Zach, that's not very nice either.
I'm sorry, I saw it in a video game.
Hey, I'm wasting memory here. Let's be constructive.
Okay.
You're wasting memory?
That's not good to age.
Stop remembering things then.
Okay,
Shut up.
Islam explain. Idiot.
So in example 2, you
I'm
have
sensitive to being called idiot.
example 2. You have what? You have 4 buttons,
Yes.
right? Each one of these buttons has got a clicked signal, its own clicked signal.
Yes.
Notice how I am mapping all of them to what?
They function.
In the connects here, I'm mapping click button, the click signal of the click button, the click signal of the icon button, click signal of the flat button, and the click signal of the toggle button are all going to the same slot.
Yep.
So the question then becomes, how does this slot know which button causes it to run?
Well, I know that
When
one
a
of them,
signal
when you
is
press the
received.
enter key, it'll run the click button, the first one. I don't know why though.
Okay. So let's say you click the icon button.
The set default.
Okay. So how does this slot know that you click the icon button? Okay. I'm using here something called the sender method. What this sender method does is it always returns a pointer to the object that caused the slot to run. So if I had pressed the icon button, sender would send a pointer to the object of icon button. If I press the toggle button, sender will return the pointer to what? The toggle button. Okay, and so on and so on and so forth. So then I basically say, I call sender and I cast whatever the pointer it is, returning to a Q push button because they're all Q push buttons. And I attach sig button to it. So now sig button is pointing to whichever object that was clicked. Doesn't matter which one. Sig button will always be mapped to the object that was clicked. We don't know what it is. We just know that sig button is mapped to the object that was clicked.
Yeah.
Now we got to like start our little Cluedo investigation. Okay.
A little
So
what?
A clue. Like
Cluedo.
A
Have you guys
Cluedo.
played Cluedo? The game Cluedo?
You mean clue?
Clue is the American version. Cluedo is the British version.
Cluedo.
Well, you're like trying to defend him and then you're like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
No. That's clueless.
Oh, Sam's got political views.
He's okay. No.
Got the SWAT team just busts in, takes your song away.
They're like, we've been waiting for a reason.
The thought police.
Thought police.
He's okay.
Yeah, Thought Patrol.
Yeah.
So-
thought.
Yo, I gotta read that book.
Anyways, what's happening here is now I gotta start a little investigation, okay? And I'm gonna say, okay, well, let's take a look at the text fields of the buttons, right? Is the text field icon button? Then it was an icon button, or an icon button.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I've been wondering why you've been saying icon this whole time.
Icon.
I read.
Okay, and I can keep doing this. I can basically look at the text field of all the other buttons. Oh, was the text field
It's an icon button.
was the text field toggle me? Then it was a toggle button. Was the text field flat? Or I'm flat, then it's the flat button. Was the text field the icon button? It's the icon button. Now I just can't pronounce anything. Okay? But I don't have to just investigate I don't necessarily need to just investigate the string, right? Because notice how here I'm saying, look at the text field of the object that caused me to go through this slot. Is it icon button? If it is, then this is an icon button, so on and so on and so forth. But I also have other properties that I can test for. Is this a flat button? So there's an isFlat method that you can use to figure out whether it's a flat button or not. And if it is a flat button, then say it was the flat button. There's all kinds of other methods that I can use to interrogate this button and figure out which one it is. Okay, so this is really cool because this is called a many-to-one mapping. Okay, many push buttons to one slot mapping, or many clicked signals from different push buttons to one slot mapping. And then I can catch the one that caused the slot to be called, and then I interrogate it to figure out which one caused it. Everyone understand this? Okay, so you could do a lot of really cool things like that, and sender is quite powerful. Where this fails is if you have multiple objects mapped to the same slot that are of different types. Because then you have no way of knowing when to cast the return value of sender to the different objects. Like if you had Q push button and Q slider, you wouldn't know which one to cast when, right? You could probably cast them back all to Q widget and try experimenting with that, but that becomes a little bit more complicated.
Yeah.
Okay? So everybody understands how sender works?
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Vincent.
Yeah.
Again, remember, it's multiple objects are mapped, the click signal of multiple objects are mapped to the same slot, all of them to the same slot.
Yeah. And
When
then-
you click one of them, what happens is you'll always jump to button clicked. Which one caused me to go to button clicked? The sender button always will send a pointer to the object that caused the slot to run.
It then detects it.
One of these, right? And then what I do is I know it's one of these. Now I gotta interrogate it to figure out, based on its text field or based on its properties, I can interrogate it and find out which button it was. And then once I know which button it was, I can then do whatever it is that I'm supposed to do. Okay? And the beauty of this is instead of having 4 slots, one for every object, I can have one slot for all 4 buttons that handles all 4 buttons. So my code is a little bit more compact. Okay? I'm done. If you guys have questions about it, please ask me. If not, then continue working on the lab.